Hello, this is Required Fields, and it's been a while since I've been on YouTube, but I have a new series here that I am starting. It's been months since I actually created a YouTube video, but anyways, I'm back on YouTube now after a long time of being away, and anyways, I have a new series that I'm starting. Some of you may be aware of the YouTuber Todd in the Shadows. He has he has done some different, a few different types of series on his YouTube channel, and one of them is called Trainwreckords, and I am basically applying that concept that he has to metal albums. Anyways, Trainwreckords is basically a series where he kind of does a bit of discussion about albums that more or less kill the band's momentum and then its tracks and really crippled the band's in the long run, the artist in the long run. And anyways, this is a series that I call Catalog Cripplers, and it basically discusses albums that generally were very poorly received and basically hurt a band's momentum and impact. And anyways, the very first album in the series that I am going to be discussing is going to be Cold Lake by Celtic Frost. Now, I do not own a physical copy of this album, but that is the first album that is going to be discussed in this new series. And anyways, Celtic Frost are an extremely important name in the extreme metal world. Having formed in the early 80s, they are basically seen as very important for the development of extreme metal and had a big impact on what it would, the direction that it would take. They started out with the Morbid Tales EP, which later became a full length when they added some more material to it, and the Emperor's Return EP, and then came the full length release to Megazerion, and then they released a more experimental Into the Pandemonium in 1987, and then in 1988 came Cold Lake, which is the album we are discussing today. Anyways, Cold Lake is generally seen as one of the most infamous attempts to, as some people would say, sell out in the metal world. Although Tom G. Warrior, the brainchild of Celtic Frost, and their frontman, said that he wouldn't consider it that because if it was a sellout, it would have sold, he said in one of the interviews where he was asked about Cold Lake. Anyways, the album is seen as a departure from the band's extreme metal sound, and as he went into more, tried to attempt a more commercial-ish sound, that would be appealing to fans of the hair bands that were very popular during the time that Cold Lake was recorded. Anyways, the move went on very poorly as the band got pretty much almost unanimously abhorrent reviews for Cold Lake, and the band also changed their image to this. Basically, it looked very much along the same line of the other hair bands at the time that were very popular. And anyways, the hair bands at the time were very popular, so they try to change to that type of image. And anyways, to be honest though, it's not like the album actually sounds anything like, say, the whippiest and softest of the hair bands, like, say, it has absolutely nothing like, say, Poison or anything like that. It's definitely one of the absolute heaviest albums that one could actually find in that move that's been put under that umbrella, actually. The album starts out with an intro. It's actually more like a rap type intro, rap vocals almost, actually with rap vocals. And then we get to the first full track of the album, Seduce Me Tonight, and yep, this is pretty bad. And there are a couple of the tracks that are the heaviest on the album, which would probably be Once They Were Eagles and the closing track, Roosevelt Forward. These are probably the two least worst offenders on the album, as they are the closest to something that Celtic Frost could have done on a previous album, and about the closest that they could have done with Okay, and then we have but it's definitely, these tracks definitely aren't as bad as, say, Cherry Orchards, which was the track of the album which had a music video for it, and it's obvious that the vocal approach that Tom G. Warrior actually had, he tried to go for a somewhat, almost one could say, like he was trying to come off as seductive in his vocal approach, and it just doesn't work on this album. Anyways, the album really hurt Celtic Frost, as we're now being whipping post of the extreme metal scene of having done this. They released another album in 1990 called Vanity Nemesis, which was definitely not in the same style as Cold Lake was. It was different from the band's earlier albums, but it had some more melodic traditional metal and power metal influences on it. Then they released an odds and ends type compilation called Parts with First and Maya Dying, which does contain a couple of re-recorded tracks from the Cold Lake album. They re-recorded a couple of songs from it, and then they disbanded in 1993. They were working on a new album, but they ended up disbanding. Then in the 21st century, they reformed and released one new album, Monotheist, which was very well received before disbanding again by the end of the decade. And anyways, the Tom G. Warrior, the brainchild of Celtic Frost, definitely disowned Cold Lake. He stated in interviews that basically he wanted to do something that kind of was a bit closer to his influences, basically alluding to how even though the extreme metal scene like to hate on the 80s hair band scene, said when you think about it, a lot of the bands that they grew up listening to, we grew up listening to those same bands too. We just basically took different directions when we actually formed bands of our own. When he said something along those lines, basically, and he states that he believes they could have made a good album this style, but he doesn't admit that it sucks, in his opinion. That he really does not like it at all, and even though he does believe that it could have been a good album, he even re-recorded a couple of tracks from it on their Odds and Ends compilation, so they do believe something better could have come out of it. But the band basically distances himself from it. When the band reissued their catalog in 1999, they reissued every studio album of theirs except for Cold Lake. Basically, Tom G. Warrior said something to the fact it's not that they're purposely trying to hide it. If someone likes it, he's not offended by that, but it's basically as far as he and the rest of the band wanted to go with it. But it definitely hurt the band's career momentum, absolutely. And anyways, while I can't really say that I think Cold Lake is a good album, I also wouldn't go as far as to say it's quite as bad as some other albums that really were hurtful to the band's momentum and impact in the long run. There are some definite worse offenders in Cold Lake, even though I wouldn't call it a good album, personally. But that's just my opinion. But it seems to be the common consensus that it's not good, but I don't really hate it as much as some others do. Anyways, but yes, that is that's just the first installment of my new series, catalog Cripplers, which basically is sort of like the metal version of Todd the Shadows and his Trainwreckords series. But anyways, some other installments are to come later this month, and anyways, so I'll be a little bit more active on my YouTube channel this month and next month at least. And anyways, I hope you liked that video, and either way, Celtic Frost definitely distanced himself from Cold Lake in the long run, and this is the way I think that people should look at Celtic Frost and remember them for, not Cold Lake. This is Morbid Tales. Anyways, I do want to say thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Required Field signing off, and goodbye.